Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to the YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, here we are to continue our AFL 2023 3-game match reviews for the 2023 AFL season. And in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the middle three games from round 11, and those games were Geelong vs GWS, Gold Coast vs Western Bulldogs, and West Coast vs Essendon. Alright, so the Saturday twilight game continued on the rampage and the consecutive upsets in a row. Took that to 3, as we know the Saints beat the Hawks. The Hawks beat the Saints, and the Dockers beat the Demons, which you want to go ahead and see. Those reviews, make sure to go ahead and check out my other 3-game match reviews, which is already out. But this one, though, focusing on this one, Geelong 10-14-74 defeated by the Giants 12-9-81. The Giants won by 7 points in the end, and what a win it is for them. And the Cats, they're not going to be able to go without losing at GMHBA this year. Disappointing loss in a game with the Giants led and were probably the better side for the whole game, despite the Cats launching a last quarter comeback, and things couldn't get any worse with the Sava Radigalia subbed out for Geelong and Paddy Dangerfield obviously not playing, and they missed a couple of other of their big guns. And Toby Green's 200th game, he did not disappoint. It was an interesting first quarter, but in the second quarter, that's where the Giants skipped out to their lead. Third quarter, very even, 3-2. The Cats did have the better term, though. In the final quarter, the Giants kicked the first 2 of the term. The Cats kicked the next 1, 2, 3. And then it's a little bit goal for goal late before the Giants just get home, kicking the sealer later on in the term. AFL Fantasy, 121 for Stewart, 124 Green. That's Toby Green. 112 Fantasy for Hogan, 111 for Briggs, 108 for Tom Green, 102 for Whitfield, 100 for Daniels. So that's pretty much all Giants players except for Stewart. 4 goals, 2 for Green, his 200th. He had a big game. 3 goals for Daniels and Riccardi. 2 goals, 3 for Cameron, who, yes, missed some opportunities. 2 goals as well for Henry, which is Oliver Henry. Stengel as well. Hawkins only kept to the 1 goal. 31 disposals for Stewart and Whitfield, 28 for Green, 26 for Cornelio and Ash. Marks, 10 for Hogan, 9 for Stewart, Green and Ash. That's Toby Green. Tackles, 9 for Parfitt, 7 for Daniels and Bedford. Hit out, 34 for Briggs, 25 for Segler, 11 for Blitzarves, and 4 for Riccardi. Team stats now is the Giants that went inside 50, 48 to 51 times, so plus 3 there. They won clearances 36-44. The Cats 13-10 centre, 23-34 stoppage in favour of the Giants as well. Cats won contested possessions by 2. The Giants won uncontested possessions by 2. Marks 73-81 in favour of the Giants, 9-17 marks inside 50 in favour of the Giants as well. They led for most of the game, and 62-76 tackles and 4-22 tackles inside 50s as well. This is a massive upset win for the Giants, who they're keeping their very slim finals chances alive. But the Cats, they're falling out of contact with easily the top 4 and definitely the top 8 now. But what a win this is for the Giants away from home. Saturday night footy in Darwin at TIO Stadium. This is the first of 2 weeks. Gold Coast will be up there. They played the Dogs this week. They'll be playing the Crows up there next week. And it is Gold Coast 13-6-84. Defeated the Western Bulldogs 11-11-77. Gold Coast won by 7 to continue the round of upsets. That's 4 in a row now. And what a win this one was for the Gold Coast Suns. They needed, especially with all this Damien Hardwick coaching stuff and Stuart Dew, they needed to win this game. And most importantly, they need to win next week's one as well now to try and keep their season well and truly alive and Stuart Dew's coaching career alive as well. But look, after the Dogs skipped away early, kicking the first 3 goals of the game, it was the Suns that marched back into contention, kicking the next 3 goals to fall just a couple of points short. And yeah, later on in that term, they owned it. And in the second quarter, they did not own that second quarter. They did not deserve to kick 4 goals. All 4 goals going Jack Lukosius' way in that second term as well, including some brilliant soccer finishes. But yeah, the Western Bulldogs had entries upon entries, only for 2 behinds. They were a bit wasteful going inside 50 in that second term. In the third term, 4 goals to 3. That's where the Western Bulldogs tried to launch a bit of a comeback, but the Suns is repeatedly trying to find ways to keep that margin going. And again, in the last quarter, they bob out to 20 points on a couple of occasions throughout the third and final term. The Dogs, they try to launch a comeback in 1, 2, 3 goals to come within 1 point, but then the Suns kick 1 more to get away through Bailey Humphries' magical curler to win the game. Matt Rao, 124 fantasy, had to be the best on ground. 1 goal, 29 disposals, 2 marks, 7 tackles. He was amazing. 123 fantasy for McRae, 116 for Bontempelli, who started a big game. 111 fantasy for Witts, 106 for Daniel. Goals behinds now, 5 goals for Lukosius, who was influential. He's had some big games this year, and luckily enough, this time he kicked straight. 3 goals for Ugle-Hagan, 2 for King, 2 for Waitman, 2 for Holman and Williams. Disposals, 33 for McRae, 29 for Rao, 27 for Dale and Bontempelli. Marks, 10 for Jones, who is so important. They got this man for free. 9 for Ugle-Hagan, 8 for English. Tackles 11 for Bontempelli, 10 for Holman, 8 for McRae, 7 for Rao and Liberatore. Hit-outs 51 for Witts, 22 for English, 10 for Lob, 4 for Casbolt, and 1 for Ugle-Hagan, I believe. And inside 50 is 48 to 66. That's a big domination in favour of the Western Bulldogs, and you've got to do better than just scoring 11-11 from it. And they were a little bit inaccurate, though, the Western Bulldogs, compared to Gold Coast, but look, they had plenty of opportunities, especially in that second quarter, where they should have actually got a few more scores and even just a couple more goals, and they could have easily really looked to try and put this side away a little bit earlier than what they should have, and in the end, they couldn't even manufacture the win, the Western Bulldogs. But yeah, they could have put really some scoreboard pressure on. And then clearances were quite locked, 9-13 Senate in favour of the Western Bulldogs, 33-29 stop in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. Suns had more uncontested footy, and the Dogs had way more uncontested footy. Marks 62-87 in favour of the Dogs, 8-12 marks inside 50 in favour of the Western Bulldogs as well. Gold Coast led for 3/4 of this game after trailing early. Their tackling was good, 71-57 tackles, but they played really well up in the NT. A big win for their season. And now to the second Saturday night game, and we're all thinking another upset really couldn't happen here, and another upset did not happen here. It halted the upset streak, and it got people's tips going well. I was happy, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that we all knew comfortably Essendon were going to win this game, but it is a tip right, which is a big one, because a lot of people aren't doing very well in tipping this round at all. But 6-10 West Coast 46, Essendon 14-12, 96, Essendon win by 50. They're going to probably play finals football by the end of the year, and if not, they're going to have a really good crack at it. They've got North Melbourne coming up next week, and then they're still playing West Coast and North, both at Marvel, back-to-back again later on in the year, and they're playing North next week, as we know. So they've got 3 really easy games there that they can probably beat these sides. They can probably win all those games by 50 points, and you can see that's a percentage boosting opportunity, and 3 wins, which we'll check out later after. But anyway, though, it was Essendon, which took a little while to put them away. I mean, West Coast were here, and they were in the contest for the first half, really. Essendon only led by 24 at half-time, and West Coast really unlucky that they gave up that goal. In the third quarter, though, 3-1, and Essendon had chances to put them away as well, but West Coast just couldn't hang around. I mean, they kicked 1 goal for in that third quarter, so accuracy wasn't really on their side, and then 1 goal to 3 more in that final term just says goodbye. But look, a big loss here for West Coast. We didn't think they were going to do. They actually played a little bit better than I thought they would. I thought they'd get absolutely destroyed. But look, West Coast, they hung around for a bit. They had some big stars that came back and were quite important to not letting this get too far out of hand, even though 50 points is still quite a lot. But 140 fancy for Duggan, 125 for Redmond, 124 for Martin, 120 for Hunt, 111 for Merritt, 109 for Hearn. Those are some of their stars that did return. 4 goals for Allen, who's really been a lifesaver this season. He kicked 4 of their 6 goals. He is the main focal point in their forward 50. Other goal scorers for him include Waterman and Petrocelli, with the 3 goals for Langford, 2 for Menzies, Snelling, Hobbs. Disposals now, 35 for Duggan, 34 for Hunt, 32 for Merritt, 31 for Martin, and Redmond 29 for Kelly, 28 for Ridley. Marks now, 13 for Heppel, 12 for Duggan, 11 for Redmond, 10 for Waterman and Hearn, as well as Martin, 9 for Hunt and McGrath. Tackles, 5 for Jimby, Perkins, Caldwell, Hobbs and Stringer. Hit-outs, 33 for Williams, 10 for Bryan, 8 for Draper, 4 for Rotham, 1 for Wiedemann. Team stats now, 48-46 inside 50s in favour of West Coast. So that's interesting that West Coast won the inside 50 count, but again just couldn't score. You can see there that Essendon had way more scoring shots than West Coast. Clearances locked at 27-27, 9-8 centre clearances in favour of West Coast, 18-19 stoppage clearances in favour of Essendon. Now, I do know they were without Dylan Shield in this game. Essendon smashed them in contested possessions and 1+7 in uncontested footy as well. Marks, they won in that area. They won inside 50 and contested marks and intercepts. They won all of that, led for the whole game, and laid more tackles inside 50. But yeah, they led for the whole game. Pretty convincing and comfortable win in Perth for Essendon. And look, as we know, their fixtures are only getting easier from here, so they are a real finals contender. Now to today's footy action. Richmond vs Port Adelaide at the MCG. The Richmond, they're going to have to do it without Damien Hardwick, as we know that he quit Richmond. And Port Adelaide, they're looking to make it, I think, 8 in a row wins, which would be insane. Collingwood North is the Channel 7 game at Marvel. That one is big celebration times for the Pies. 100 games for Mason Cox, 300 for Still Sidebottom. And they potentially won the games of the round. Adelaide versus Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval to finish off the round. That is a big one, and both sides are definitely going to be looking for a big win. And could we see upsets in this block of fixtures potentially? Now, if we go back to the start of the round, Sydney got overcome by 26. The upsets, though, started, I mean, you can even call Sydney a bit of an upset. They weren't actually the favourites to win. They weren't the money favourites to win. Then Hawks over the Saints by 10, kicked the last 5 goals of the game to win. The D's lost to the Dockers by 7. Then obviously the Cats lost to the Giants. Suns beat the Dogs. And then, yeah, we know West Coast and Essendon. We'll go to the ladder now. And, yeah, Pies are on top still to play. So the Lions, so are the Powers. So this could be, should the Pies, Lions and Port all pick up wins, which they are the favourites today, they will get clear, and they can they'll really put some separation from them to this following pack of teams here. But yeah, they can get some real separation. They can get a 2-game separation here. Top 8, we still know there's lots of things going on there. Adelaide, the real big one, still to play, and they can jump back up into the top 8 with a win. And then down here, Richmond and North are the others still to play. But we'll go to Essendon real quick. We can go to season. They're 6 and 5, so if they'll obviously pick up those wins against North and West Coast, they'll take them to 9, and they'll only need 3 or 4 more wins there. And then we'll just have a quick little sneaky look at next round as well. Next round does start the Buys 3-game match reviews. Next round will be a little bit different. We'll be doing the first 3 games of the round, and then we'll do 2. So we'll do these 2 Saturday night games, and then these 2 Sunday games. That's how it's going to work next round. But anyway, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Bye, everyone. Flame Footy out.